my channel, and if you are new, welcome to my channel. Today is yet another rant video because I obviously love ranting. I'm kidding guys, but I'm not. It is a rant video and it is about my hospital stay. I do want to first and foremost say in the very beginning that the baby is okay, and this had nothing to do with being worried about the baby in any way, shape, or form. My body's just breaking and I'm in pain, and I will get into that, but I did have to go to the emergency room, and we're gonna get to the story. I do have to give you a few backstories if you are new here or just haven't really been keeping up. So I did recently just get diagnosed with SPD because of my pregnancy, which basically just means my body released too much of a hormone called relaxin, which makes your joints really loose, where they just start not being in the right place, which obviously causes a lot of discomfort and pain. And recently it has been getting really bad. Usually what happens is in the morning it's like bearable, where I could walk and do like certain things, and then towards the end of the night I'm just kind of like in bed, in pain, can't really do much. But yesterday I woke up as if it was nighttime, if that makes sense. So like the pain that I experienced in the nighttime was the pain that I was experiencing in the morning, which was really worrisome because I was like, I know it's only gonna get worse, and it did. So to jump right into the story, Patrick and I were picking up his little sister from school. If you don't know, Patrick's siblings have moved in with us and we are caring for them now, and we do take Erica to and from school. And so we were just doing our normal day routine. I also want to mention I did nothing like at all that would cause anything like this. So we went to go pick up Erica, and then after we picked up Erica, we did get food. It was probably about like a 40-minute car ride. During that time, I obviously wasn't moving because I was buckled into a car, and you don't move in a car typically. When we got home and I was getting out of the car, I just about lost it. I have a really high pain tolerance, like a really high pain tolerance, and I don't cry often in regards to pain. I'm a super big crybaby with like emotions and stuff, but when it comes to pain, I'm like, nah. I literally could not get out of the car. Like I was bawling my eyes out, and Patrick of course like ran over and, you know, picked me up, and I didn't fall like from the car. I just couldn't move. Like my body froze because of how much pain I was experiencing. I couldn't get out of the position that I was in. I would have rather went through my 30-hour labor all over again 12 times. I was in so much pain, I cannot even describe it. And so Patrick picked me up and was like, what do you want to do? Like, what's going on? And he's like, is it your SPD? And I'm like, I think, because it was in the same area, but I was really scared because of how much pain I was experiencing. I didn't think anything was wrong with the baby or anything. That's not really what was going through my mind. It was more so, I feel like something detached that shouldn't have detached, and I knew that it probably didn't, and I just wanted to make sure, obviously. So I was like, just take me to the hospital. He put me back in the car, and I literally was like hyperventilating, crying for about 15 minutes in the car because the pain was like, it was like trying to calm itself down, and no matter what position I put myself in, it was just making it worse, and it was all bad, okay? It was really bad. At this time, now it was like, I think 5 or 6, because it was like 40 minutes from picking Erica up, which she already stays after school for like activities and stuff like that. So it was like 6 o'clock at this time. So my midwife's office was closed, so I could not call her, and they do have like an emergency line, but it goes to their cell phone. And I knew I wasn't like in labor, and so I didn't really want to call her and be like, hey, I'm in immense pain, just because if you don't know, having a midwife, she obviously doesn't have like an x-ray machine there. She has to order it. She can obviously expedite the order, but that would take still like about a day. So I would have to go in the next day, and I was in pain right now. So I needed to go to the emergency room. When we got there, I wasn't too sure if I had to go to labor and delivery just because I was pregnant, or if I had to go to like the normal standard emergency. So we went to the standard emergency because again, I like wasn't in labor. I didn't think I was in labor or anything. And so as soon as I got in, they wouldn't even like take my name or anything. They were like, you're really pregnant, girl. You need to go to L&D. And I was like, but I'm not in labor. Like I'm not having contractions. I'm good. and they were like, no, like we can't see patients after a certain period of time of you being pregnant. And so I did have to go to L&D. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, I'm in a wheelchair at this point because again, I can't walk. And I want to literally thank my husband so much. He carried me from the car to the wheelchair, wheeled me all the way up, and then he had to carry me from the wheelchair to the bed. I'm not the skinniest girl anymore. Props to him lifting me, so that was pretty cool. And then they of course hook me all up. They still have to check the baby. It's like mandatory, which I would rather them check the baby anyway, just to make sure. And of course the baby was okay. However, I was contracting regularly, and I am assuming just because I was like really stressed out and like in pain, that's probably what was starting that. But they obviously were not progressive contractions. It was nothing to be worried about. I wasn't going into labor, but because I was having regular contractions, that did mean that they had to check me. They checked it and I was not in labor, so that was good. Probably about an hour and a half goes by and we still have not seen the doctor yet. And then we hear the doctor come in. How the room is like constructed, so it's basically like room, and then we're all just like divided by curtains, if that makes sense. So I could literally hear what's happening in the next room, what's happening in that like lobby area where like the nurses hang out. I don't know what that's called, but yeah, like we could hear everything because everything's just separated by curtains. So we hear the doctor come in. She's talking about like the C-section that she was just in and yada yada yada. So then I hear my nurse's voice. She's like, yeah, the lady in room number 6, she's having pelvic pain, and you know, we checked her, she's not in labor, blah blah, like let her know what's going on. She's like, okay, great. And she's like, she's ready to see you. And then the doctor's conversation shifts over to her blind date. Yeah, she starts talking about her blind date and how handsome he was and how she hasn't dated in a really long time, so this is rare for her, and then like continues going on into like more details about her date. And me and Patrick are just sitting there, and I was like, you know, it's fine. Like obviously when you're at work, you can't just be work 100% of the time, right? 40 minutes later, she is still talking about her date, and we still have not been seen by her, not even introduced by her, not even trying to whisper about it is like what the funny thing is. So Patrick at this point is very upset because I'm sitting here in pain. Oh, and to let you guys know, Grayson was not there. So I do have a son, he's 2 years old, and we actually had his mom come and watch Grayson. If you guys don't know, Patrick's mom works 3 jobs, so her schedule is not really free, and so she was also on a time limit of how long she could watch Grayson. And by this time now, like it's what, like maybe 3 hours inside the hospital. I knew that it was gonna be like a long stay like this, but not to this extent, I guess. I just thought that they would, I don't know, like take it more serious. Patrick walks out because he's pissed, and so he just opens up the curtain, and as he's approaching the doctor, guys, she's literally like right outside the room. So she quickly changes the conversation and turns it back over to the C-section that she was in. It wasn't smooth at all. And then Patrick was just like, hey, it was really nice. And he was like, just wondering, like, you know, when the doctor is coming in. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm right here. I'll be in there in just a second. And she's like, I just am finishing up my conversation with her. And Patrick was like, okay. And I told him specifically not to be rude to her, not to really give away that we were already irritated at this point, because I didn't want her to come in and do like a crappy job at examining me because she was irritated or mad. 20 minutes later, still talking about this blind date, guys. It wasn't like they were waiting for like lab results. They weren't waiting for anything like a period of time for me to be monitored, because by this point I did call my nurse in and asked like, okay, what are we waiting for? Why is she taking so long? And she was like, she just has to finish up her conversation. She'll come right in. Like, we're not waiting on anything. Guys, it gets worse. She comes in and just looks at me and she's like, yeah, so you're having round ligament pain. Doesn't introduce herself. Like, just walks in. Oh, so you're having some round ligament pain? No, bitch, I cannot walk. And I understand round ligament pain can get to that extent. I've had round ligament pain with my son, but I was already diagnosed with SPD. I obviously can more than likely take an educated guess that this has to do with my SPD. And the thing is I don't know much about SPD just because I never had it with Grayson. I've really only done as much research as what I can do, and my midwife obviously has told me a lot about it. Not whenever it got to this extent of how badly in pain I was in. So I didn't know if like anything can change, if this is gonna change my home birth plan. Like I was really scared, and I just kind of needed somebody to reassure me that like, yeah, this really sucks that you can't walk, but it's normal, but at least like examine me and make sure, and not just walk in and say I am just having round ligament pain. So after she said that, I was like, no, like I was telling the nurse as well, like I already got diagnosed with SPD, and I just want to make sure like my joints are not like too separated, or if I'm good. And she's like, no, sweetie, this is just round ligament pain. And I was like, no, I already got diagnosed, pretty sure it relates. And she was like, oh, because you're not wearing a belly band. That's a negative. I was wearing a belly band, and I wasn't at that point because obviously when you go into the doctor, you change into the hospital gown. So no, I didn't have my belly band at this time because they had to put all the monitors on my stomach. But I was like, no, like I already have a belly band, and like it hasn't been helping. I literally cannot walk. She then just says, no, it's because you weren't wearing a belly band, it's round ligament pain. And she like tries like walking out. And I was like, oh, no. At this point, I said, so do I need to go to the ER? Do I need to go to a different department? Do you not know what you're talking about? Because again, like I said, I have SPD. You can contact my midwife. I have been wearing a belly band. My husband could go get it in the car if you'd like. I understand if this is something that there's literally nothing that you could do. I'm assuming that's probably the answer anyway. But I just wanted like confirmation that I was okay, and for you to not even like feel anything, not even do an x-ray, like just walk in, not even introduce yourself and just say, no, it's round ligament pain, and then not listen to me and then repeatedly say because I wasn't wearing a belly band when I was, I don't understand. So she basically then was like, yeah, you could definitely go to the ER. They had to call down there and basically like clear it because I am so far along and they won't see me. So by this point, Pat's mom was calling us, and she couldn't watch Grayson for any longer because she did have to go to work, and she has kids at her house that she needs to feed. So it's not like I could just be like, too bad. And I couldn't have Grayson come to the hospital. I don't like having him inside the ER if he doesn't need to be. And I already got cleared that the baby was okay. So that's why I was just like, well, my kids are okay, and that's kind of where you're a mom and you just suffer a little bit. So instead of going to the ER, we ended up just going home. Also because I am seeing my chiropractor Thursday, so they are obviously like running tests and everything like that again. But at this point, I am basically on modified bed rest. What that is with SPD, more than likely the reason why I was not able to walk is because I was sitting still for 40 minutes. It's actually not good to just sit with it because it does make your joints more stiff. I'm supposed to take it very easy, and basically when I am experiencing that pain, not just try to like push through and keep going because that is gonna make it worse, but try to walk as much as what I can before it happens, so that way it more than likely won't happen. I am now in a wheelchair until I get like my x-ray done. We want to make sure that no other damage is done to my body, obviously after pregnancy as well, and to see kind of like the severity of it, because whenever I got diagnosed with it and my midwife saw it was probably about a week ago, or maybe even a week and a half ago from this thing happening. So it could have gotten worse in that time frame, so it definitely needs to be checked up on. So I'm going to show you guys how I've been getting around whenever it gets really bad. Welcome back to my channel, guys. But yeah, I'm in an electric wheelchair because I can't walk. If you are wondering how I got to my office, we're gonna go ahead and shout Patrick out again because he literally carried me up the stairs into my office so that way I could record and edit. I'm not in pain if I am not walking. So like right now I'm like sitting here, my back is aching, but like that's just like a pregnancy thing. Thank God that he works from home now. But yeah, that's an update. I won't have really any more information on like where it's at until Thursday or tomorrow. I think I have to call to see if the order went in and stuff. Anybody with SPD, my heart goes out to you because it's not a joke. So thank you guys so much for your love and support. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great one, guys. Bye.